Travis Wayne Goodsell. Like a good neighbor, it's not the state of Utah. I get to do local news this time, state news. The first message that we have is, it is never a good idea to employ Lucifer's plan of happiness on your children. It will not produce the desired results. Apparently, a moose has died. That's it. That's the news for tonight. See ya. No. I am wondering about this Thanksgiving Point announces science-based building. Utah doesn't care about science. They've replaced it with psychology. So I'm a little concerned about what they're doing with Orrin Porter Rockwell's brothel. You didn't know that? They call it a hospital. That's probably why you're confused. Or a hospital, a hotel. Yeah, apparently Utah even calls the asylum a hospital. We're conforming to John F. Kennedy's signature, but we don't like it. It's still the same. It's an asylum. We just call it a hospital. There are no medical doctors. So there. Show that Democrat. That's in the news too. A chop shop has been uncovered. The police here in Utah have shut them down so that the gangs in Utah have been doing another tactic of going around the neighborhoods between 2 and 4 a.m. to look for vehicles to steal, but then they drop it off in another neighborhood, steal anything of value in the car, and then abandon the car. So when you wake up in the morning, want to go to work or church, your car's gone, you call the cops, and the cops, during their illegal search, where they illegally pull you over for traffic citations as part of the quota system here in Utah, but shh, it's not called a quota. They then tell you that they found it. And of course the DNA has all been wiped clean. And so then they take the valuables from the vehicle and go to pawn shops or sell them on eBay or wherever to make the money that way, because the chop shops was put to an end. But apparently somebody tried to revive it, and it's in Wasatch County where they found it. So they've now stopped that one. So be on the lookout for your cars getting stolen and then abandoned in neighborhoods again. And Governor Cox again refuses to register as a foreign agent as he hosts Hungary. Congress made it very clear in the Constitution. State governments have no authority to make business deals with foreign governments. Only Congress of the United States of America. And here's the good neighbor one. EPA. The Federal Appeals Court rejects Utah's attempt to block the EPA's Good Neighbor program. Why would Utah not want to be a good neighbor? Because they're poisoning us in the air, land, and water. And they don't like the federal government stepping in, telling them what to do. This is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Religious freedom. So expect to see the church sue the federal government for religious exemption from the EPA. They're doing that, though. It's coming. The Mormon crickets are out in full force on my channel because of the intense snowpack we had. And I noticed YouTube has been escalating their cyber terrorism on me. See, last week, they began making it difficult for me to get your attention. I have found that to get your attention, especially my subscribers, I have to watch my own videos, because that then triggers the algorithm to notify you. Extremely frustrating. Had to do it for years now. And so now YouTube last week has finally figured out that that's what I've been up to. And as we're nearing conference, they're in a panic because they know conference is my big viewing time, regardless of whether Mormons believe they're in a cult group wanting to murder them. And so they've made it so that after I upload a video, and it doesn't matter if the checks have gone through and approved, which they always do, I have to keep refreshing my videos page until the new video finally shows up. This is their new tactic to keep me from triggering the algorithm. They know this. They finally figured out what I'm doing. And so now, today, all day, they have gone back to an old favorite of theirs, slowing down my uploads. And the problems on YouTube site no longer allows me to put in others that are not listed. And so I'm forced to only put upload problems. This is cyber terrorism that YouTube is involved with. I've checked my internet speed. It's still excellent. The best I've ever had since my freedom back in 2014 from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's just sick and wrong how evil this church is, and it's not because I'm lying. No. Because they don't do it to other ex-Mormon channels. It's just me. They do it because I get a knockout against the church. I'm the only one bold enough to declare, I'm calling you out, Mormon Jesus. Show yourself. If you're coming to murder me, do it now. I challenge you to a one-on-one cage match. Where are you? He ain't gonna show. And ABC4 News Utah hates blacks, supports police who shoot blacks in the back unarmed. They've always done the behind the badge. They have never cared for blacks. During the Black Lives Matter protests in Utah, they were still doing the behind the badge. And apparently a Mormon mother had murdered her baby. She was unaware of Utah's safe haven laws. And so now the news is all about teaching us safe haven laws. So that if you don't want to adopt your baby, because you're forced to give your rape baby away, and you're forced to have your rape baby, now you need to know that you can just drop it off at certain locations who can then get it to an adoption agency. And the Jordan School District. Psychologists have caused this problem. Bill Maher brought it up, but didn't understand it was psychologists who caused it. See, back in the 80s, I watched a lot of TV. I saw a lot of commercials. Some of them were hilarious. Some of them were child porn. Well, it was mostly in the 70s where the child porn was. The underoos and stuff. But I noticed that there was an alert message. If your child is experiencing feelings of loneliness and they're not socializing and their grades are falling and this and that and the other, whole list of problems, your kid might be depressed. Call now. And then after some time goes by, number of months, another alert. If your child exhibits the exact same symptoms that was previously done, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, they're doing this again for depression. Nope. Your child's now gay. This was the 80s, the homophobic 80s. Your child's now gay. Call this number immediately. This was when conversion therapy was going on, especially in Utah by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It finally stopped in 2021. The church wants it back. And then time goes by, and again, the same symptoms. Now your depressed gay child is also a terrorist. This was for psychology. They were fishing for clients. They were fishing for acceptance. You know, like Kim Jong-un, he wants to be acknowledged as a legitimate leader of a country. And so he drops bombs to get attention. This was psychology. But the movies in the 80s, Terminator, Lethal Weapon, etc., I think even Die Hard. Was there a psychologist in Die Hard? I don't recall. Maybe not. But there's probably some other Bruce Willis thing about ripping on psychologists. But regardless, they're all trash-talking psychology. Just humiliating them in the movies and in TV shows. And then the 90s occurred. And what we have learned is that psychologists weaseled their way into the school systems and were forcing teachers to do a pass-fail grading system. No more could you hug kids. You're a sexual deviant if you hug kids. You've got to traumatize kids and keep them traumatized. And send them to the psycho. Because psychos are not medical professionals, but they have doctor-client confidentiality still. They are lying about their field. And so nobody knows. Parents never find out what's going on with their kids, why they're behaving so weirdly. It's a super sacred secret among psychologists. And what we found out by Bill Maher is that since the 80s, the number of people who identified as gay or lesbian began to skyrocket. And the new formed creations of other letters that now has given rise to LGBTQIAPO+. This is due to psychologists on the youth in grade school in the 90s. Somebody let them have a foothold. And now it has escalated to where they are violating the 14th Amendment, Section 1. All citizens are guaranteed protections under the Constitution. No special laws for anyone. You're already all protected. No discriminatory laws for or against anyone. That's what the 14th Amendment is all about. And it's also for the protection of women and who want to get rid of a fetus. Roe v. Wade was overturned in violation of the 14th Amendment because citizens are those who are born or naturalized. A fetus is not born yet. And so thus the 14th Amendment is the law on abortions. Women can have it. It's also the Equal Rights Amendment for women. There's no need for an Equal Rights Amendment anymore. It's already guaranteed for you in the 14th Amendment, Section 1. Blacks, Hispanics, Asian, any foreign who's naturalized are protected under the 14th Amendment now. No more slavery. Now you're all citizens. Everybody is to be treated equally under the law. No extra laws. No religious freedom laws on top of the laws in the First Amendment. And so this is an assault on our Constitution to destroy it. Do you understand this? And so, LGBTQIAPO+ already had the 14th Amendment to get civilly married and to get tax deductions. There was no need for Prop 8 in California that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints tampered with. There was no need for this nonsense with the California and the Colorado bakers that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints tampered with. Already protected in the 14th Amendment. No special laws for anybody. And so now the Jordan School District are throwing a fit with little tiny kids who are identifying as transgender and using bathrooms. Now, all blacks know of this history in America, in the South. The segregation. Oh, you can't go in that bathroom, that's for whites only. You can't use that drinking fountain, that's for whites only. You can't go to that school, that's for whites only. Here we have it rising up again. You can't use the bathroom. And so yes, there's a meeting. What do? And it's simple, because it's in the 14th Amendment, Section 1. Bathrooms are not to be segregated between males and females. They're supposed to be individualized bathrooms, so that regardless, you get to use a bathroom. assuming they're not all being used by druggies in the shelters. God. All right, so the shutdown, federal government shutdown. State of Utah is already demanding that the federal government pay Utah if Utah is forced to keep the parks open, the federal parks. They don't want to pay for it, then shut them down. And so, yeah, we're going to have a shutdown. We've had them before. We know exactly what's going to happen. And yet everybody's now coming out and saying, this is what's going to happen. But again, the timing of it. This is the bicentennial year of the day that shall burn as an oven. And church news. The church over James Huntsman sued in California. You're using my tithing for inappropriate laundering money processes. The City Creek Mall, for example, laundering money to pay for it. And the church said religious freedom and got the judge to dismiss it because James Huntsman did not say that tithing was an extortion threat with the penalty of death. He instead called it a donation. Billionaires. Dear God. And so, he appealed, and the appeals court the other month said, yeah, this is a legitimate case. It shouldn't have been shut down. Try the case. And so the church stepped in and said, religious freedom, back off. Can't touch us. We don't have to follow the laws of the land. Religious freedom. That's what the First Amendment should mean. And so now they're again trying to get another argument in. We want all the judges, not just a panel. Wouldn't you know, I wonder how many judges are Mormon or Mormon compromised on the whole court. So yeah, it has to be approved first, but this is what the church is demanding. They don't want to follow the laws of the land. They want to commit financial crimes, among other crimes. So that's what's going on there. Rocky Anderson trying to run for mayor again. Mobile home caught on fire in Mill Creek and one's dead. Alana Brophy is sporting a pretty light purple. And breaking news. Beef and asparagus pasta toss. One pot wonder and everyone can eat. And it's one bite. Oh, breaking news. America First Credit Union. Yeah, I'm sure that has nothing to do with the KKK whatsoever. Supports USANA. I'm sure that has nothing to do with a pyramid scheme whatsoever. KKK and pyramid schemes. Two great tastes that taste great together. Now here's something that I'm excited about. How-to of hair rollers and curlers from stylist Stephen Robertson. I'm not interested in getting a curler. I'm interested in seeing the women with the curls. And breaking news, do not buy this product. I have warned you before, they still refuse to acknowledge this. Plexiderm is a medical trap. It's a cream that you rub on your wrinkles, and it tightens the skin to remove the wrinkles. Miracle. You no longer have to worry about aging. It's like taking a diet pill to solve your overweightness. What happens with our skin is that we expand naturally as we get older. And so, this expanding and contracting of our skin results in wrinkling as we get older. What they're trying to do is speed up the sagging of our face. Can you imagine your skin just falling down in little flabs? Now that may seem extreme, but as long as you keep buying Plexiderm for the rest of your life, you won't have that problem. But once financial times get tough, like you work for the federal government and the federal government shuts down and you have to decide, do I pay rent, tithing, bills, diapers, or do I buy Plexiderm? The sagging will get extreme the more you use it. And then Verizon finally recognized that there's this thing called the internet. Fox 13 news time. So the Candace Rivera of Exodus, not to be confused with the Exodus that all Mormons missed in 2020, was denied bail. Mormon missionary was shot in the head 26 years ago, and he's still in need of lifetime medical care. But he still believes in Jesus, replacing Joseph Smith's Christ. Salt Lake County received $2.7 million to give to corporations that will not give it to the homeless. But their stock price will go up. And here's somebody who is taking on a big responsibility. I don't know how many homeless she's making meals for. It's a Draper mom. And of course they use the old Benson thing, labor of love, to feed the homeless home-cooked meals. So I don't know if it's the ones that are in the shelters or if it's the ones that are hanging outside her house because they know they're going to get fed by her. She's going to have to do that for the rest of their lives, rest of her life. And so, Weber State had a swastika in the Student Union building. It is a symbol of hate. And it's where the neo-Nazis get this whole blood and soil from. So if you're unfamiliar with blood and soil, just look at the new Utah flag. The red line at the bottom of the flag, that's for red soil, blood and soil. The neo-Nazi Utahns, it's a symbol of hate, and it's the state of Utah's flag. And so, if you're unfamiliar with the history of Utah, southern Utah was home to the Confederates after they lost the war. They all moved to their buddies in the south and formed the land of Dixie in southern Utah. And last couple of years they've been having debates over whether they should get rid of all the names and replace Dixie. Right, Dixie? She's my aunt on my mom's side. It's all fun and games until the song is referring to Confederacy. I have no problem with people having songs about the land of Dixie as long as it's not about the Confederacy. Now, I had no idea that the General Lee, the Dukes of Hazzard, was about Confederates and the KKK. I thought it was about moonshine and sticking it to the government who are denying their constitutional amendment rights for alcohol, which had to have an appeal of the amendment with an amendment. It's one of the embarrassments in American history. Because once you deny what people want, they do it underground and poison it. And so, yeah, that's a problem with drugs. You know, there's certain drugs that kill. And so you don't want to legalize them, but if you criminalize them, you've actually got to get the police to shut them down, to keep them out of our state. In the state of Utah, under the leadership and orders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, just lets it on in. Fentanyl's the new thing now. And the federal government dropping their child care programs. And Utah is going to be hit hard by it because Utah has a lot of babies. Because the church orders you to have babies and orders you to have babies starting as young as possible. Oaks, earlier this year in May, said 16-year-old girls need to start having babies. And it is legal for a 16-year-old to get married and have babies as long as she gets parent permission. And since the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is ordering parents to get their 16-year-olds married, so Davis County Jail inmate was accidentally released again. That's a common problem in Utah. What's up with that? Brian David Mitchell, you're free to go. Ted Bundy, free to go. Warren Jeffs, free to go. The Salt Lake County Jail yesterday, they've got a mite infestation that burrows in and creates pimple light. Ugh. An infestation, a brand new jail, a brand new prison. The Salt Lake County prison, the new one that they built, that's the one, not the Salt Lake County Jail. A brand new prison, dear God. They can't get them their medical doctor meds. And then, God, that's just, you know them by their fruits. And they get upset when you point that out. We want to get away with it. And then, remember the video I did the other day about the Mormon who's reading the Book of Mormon and giving clarifying comments? Who attracted my attention because her lipstick matched the color of her dress. Looking great, Allison, as usual.